What is going on? Hey, how's it going? Man, you guys are awesome, man. So much happened in my starting soon screen. I almost regret having it up, but I honestly I had to do a couple things to get things in order for tonight. So first of all, yeah, thank you. Welcome. Hope everyone's doing well. It's Thursday, weekend is almost here. Yeah, curious what you guys are working on. I see a lot of things coming into chat, so I'll try to get to them here in a second. But first of all, Nemesis, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. Dow Cola, hey, resub, tier 1, 2 months. Thanks so much, man. Really appreciate it. Well, hello there, fellow Home Lab strangers. Yeah, how's it going, man? How you doing? Astrid, resub, tier 1, 4 months. My man, how's it going, dude? How you doing, man? I think I saw some of your comments in there. I'll get to them here in a second. Man, how's everyone doing? It's Thursday. The weekend is almost here, and man, the weather's changing. So many things going on right now. But man, thank you guys so much for being here. First and foremost, let's see here. Well, first of all, before I jump in real quick, I thought I'd do something a little bit different tonight. If you couldn't tell, I've been hinting at building my next server, and I want you guys to help me. So I have some tools in place. I'll see how this goes, but I could really use your help. I could really use the collective knowledge of everybody here to help me think through a couple of things. I don't want to make a lot of bad decisions. I have a few constraints, but other than that, I'm definitely open to suggestions. So, but yeah, so stay tuned. We'll do that here in a little bit. But first up, yeah, let's see what's going on with everyone. Shuckle Samurai, good evening. How's it going? Takano, heyo, how's it going? Jathbrisk, hey guys, how you doing? Ilude, what's up everybody? How you doing? Sly Human, oh man. I was thinking about you. Uh-oh, Sly Human. I don't know. Hopefully, maybe that was directed at someone else. Not sure. Dalcola, yeah, thanks again so much for the resub, man. Appreciate it. Let's see here. COVID Connor. Hey, hopefully you're doing okay, COVID Connor. Seagor, hey, how's it going? COVID Connor, what time zone are we in? Well, yeah, it's a good question for a lot of people. Seagor, 5 o'clock UTC. I'm in UTC -6. I don't know. I'm in Central, US Central. I think that's -6 right now. I can't tell. Well, I could tell, but I don't remember because the whole daylight savings time thing. Daukola, it's 3 a.m. here. Unknown. I don't know what it is over there. Hey, self-hosted pro. Hey, how's it going? Hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. I know that name. How are you? How are you doing? Let's see here. COVID, Connor. Let's see. Well, self-hosted pro. Yeah, how's it going? I think you were the one that was working on something called Yacht. I think. If my memory serves me well. But hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. And welcome. COVID Connor, it's 1 a.m. there. Oh wow, that's pretty late or early depending on how you look at it. Sly Human 00. I need help with TrueNAS. I have a 12 terabyte hard drive. Just bought another one. How can I add the second one to the existing pool and make it ready for backup? That one's tough because I don't know if you can. Because if you started with one drive, and it wasn't a mirror and it wasn't in ZFS, I don't know that you can easily. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. But it depends on how much data you have on there too. So if you don't have any data, I would just say, okay, well, wipe the disk, create a pool, create a mirrored pair in TrueNAS or FreeNAS, and go from there. But if you already have data on there, I don't know if you can create a pool. If someone wants to correct me, totally fine, but I don't know if you can. So if you can, move that data off, then destroy that single disk pool I think it's in, create a new pool and a mirror, move that data back on. I think might not be the answer you're looking for, but someone correct me if I'm wrong. See here. Mr. Spiceman, Mr. Spiceman, I'm gonna say Spiceman. Greets Tim and all eastern part of Canada, 8 p.m.ish here. So you're what? That's 8 p.m. Oh, eastern part of Canada. All right, it's the Toronto-ish. Eastern part of Canada. Yeah, over there. which is funny because I think that if you're in Toronto, it's actually south of me. Little known fact. Because I'm in Minnesota and a lot of people don't always think Canada's north. Well, some parts of Canada are actually south of the United States. It's a strange fact. But once I looked at the map, I'm like, you're absolutely right. Hey, but greetings. How's it going? Sly Human, learning React and Docker. Man, 2 for 1. Two of my faves. Maybe not faves, but yeah, I love React, love Docker. Yeah, they're kind of my faves in tech right now, I guess, those two. How are you liking it? Yeah, React is kind of, it's different. If you've done any web dev before, it's definitely different, but super awesome. I love it. I write a ton of React all the time, so super fun. Great tooling around it too. Mrs. Oh, that's Mrs. Pickman. I got it now. I was like, man, I guess I'm so used to reading code where code has, whatever casing possible. And so it's always easy for me to recognize people's names. But when it's all lowercase, I'm like, let me try to sound this out real quick. But it's Mrs. Pickman. Just finished installing Magic Mirror on my Rancher server. Wait, that's awesome. So Magic Mirror is that Android project, right? Where you can actually display information behind a two-way mirror, right? And it'll come through. If so, that sounds awesome. COVID Connor, traffic in Docker Compose for me. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that sounds super awesome. Traffic plays really well with plain old Docker too. Not as complex as Kubernetes, because they kind of, I don't want to say roll over, but they let Kubernetes handle a lot of stuff, as they should, because Kubernetes has a lot of the stuff that Docker doesn't always have. So I've noticed that traffic is really great for plain old Docker or Docker Compose. Yeah, let me know how it's going. Astrid, Tim, you're sexy. What's up, dude? How you doing, man? Hope you're doing well, Astrid. Haven't seen you in a while. COVID, Connor, just started self-hosting. All right, man. What's the first thing you're gonna host? I see you got some infrastructure you're setting up, but you might be hosting a website or something. What's the first service you got going on? Mrs. Pickman, I'm having a tight time with traffic, to be honest. Yeah, it's no noob alert. Don't worry about that. Hey, I was a noob on traffic like a month and a half ago or a month ago, so don't worry about that. I think a lot of people are. And traffic is a newer product too. You got things like Nginx, Proxy Manager, all the Nginx stuff that's been out here forever. Traffic's like the new kid on the block. And so don't feel bad if you think you're a noob, because I think the world's kind of a noob when it comes to traffic. So, I mean, they've been out a little bit longer, but a little bit longer than I claim it to be. But for the most part, I mean, not as long as like Nginx. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. Astrid, what's up, dude? Geos1, hello, how's it going? Come over. Dude, sometime, man. Sometime. It's getting cold out though, man. Sigor, finally got time on Monday to finish deploying my Ansible server for my home lab. Nice. Update all the things. Yeah, that sounds awesome. That sounds super awesome. I've poked and read about Ansible. I should do some more Ansible. I should. I'll just keep it at that. I definitely should. Something I should know about. Penguin Airlines, Storage Brain here, ready to help. Yes, thank you so much. Takano, our husky has been getting much better. Oh, good to know, because you said he was sick and you had to take him to the pet ER. Today he ate 2 plates of food compared to the past couple days where he wasn't eating or drinking much. Yeah, that's good to know. Like I said, like it's so sad and heartbreaking when pets are sick because they can't tell you like what's going on. So if you don't have pets, it's pretty obvious until it wasn't obvious to me until I got a pet and then my pet got sick, and you just can't do anything. You can't ask them what's wrong. They won't eat, they won't drink. You just want them to eat a little, drink a little, and they won't do anything. That's the worst. So glad to hear your puppy's doing better. Sigor, and I'm on Discord too, same name. Oh yeah, Sigor. Yeah. Please mark darkly. Just make a few bad decisions. Okay, hopefully not too bad. Astrid, Colleen says your voice is soothing. Do a stream reading the dictionary at like 9 p.m. for bedtime. Tell her I said thank you, and tell her it's the microphone. It's the microphone. Oh man, tell her I said hi. Techno, killer server build. Might be a bit pricey though. Intel 3600, 16 megs. I assume you mean gigs of RAM and 1 gig drive. Fastest service you have used. The speed will blow you away. Oh, you're not. That's a troll. Well, I'm gonna start correcting those. 16 megs of RAM and a 1 gig drive. Wow, you could do big things there. GeoS1, 2 a.m. here in Central Europe. Self-hosted pro, doing well. Just finishing work on Alpha 4. All right, man. Excited to see it. Excited to see it. And thanks for joining, man. Thanks for following. I really appreciate it. I enjoyed reading about Yacht. So yeah, definitely check it out some more in the future. Sigor, oops, I'm 1 hour ahead of you. All right, not too bad, not too bad. Whoa, Techno Tim might have the UTC code wrong. Have got my UTC code wrong. Oh, that's okay. Either that or I did, but oh, you're minus 5, I think. So that means you're on Eastern time if you're 1 ahead of me. So you're east of Chicago. Please mark darkly. Just check out your code server video. It sparked my interest when I was configuring HTTPS. It shows a blank page. Oh man. Apparently it has issues and requires WebSockets and additional headers. Follow up to share with people would be cool. That's a great call out there because WebSockets do WebSocket things and they don't communicate over normal HTTP protocols. It's a WS protocol. So yeah, good call. I'll have to dig into it and look at it a little bit. I know they have a lot of extra config in there for proxies and stuff like that, but I never looked at that piece. I probably should. Please mark. Please, I got to get this one down because you're saying lots and you deserve it. Please mark darkly. Please mark darkly. You may have emphasized connecting via VPN. Maybe that's how to avoid additional config. That's a lot of purple for Minnesota. Yeah. So a couple of things. So I did emphasize VPN mainly because like in that video I wasn't going to go into detail on like here's how you configure HTTPS and set up traffic and set up all this stuff. I try to like refer to my other videos, so hopefully that kind of made sense. But I agree. There might be additional things. Let me know, or let me know in Discord if you figure it out. That would be awesome. I would love to add additional documentation to it for sure. Daukola, been trying to learn this Frontity framework, but it alters React so dang weirdly that I just want to burn it with fire. Some reason headless WordPress with React front just sounds and looks weird. Headless WordPress with React front end just sounds and look weird. Yeah, that makes my brain hurt. So then what's left of it? Just PHP and MySQL? Ooh, no, I'm kidding. I mean, after you take out the front end, you know, what's left? But yeah, I've never heard of Frontity framework. Sounds interesting. I like names like that where it's a play on names. So COVID counter, Matrix Synapse is what I'm at first. Matrix Synapse, okay. But want to be able to host my own things on my server. All right, you can do it. You can do it, and it's a good feeling when you get it working for sure. Totally worth it. Takano getting 2 4 terabyte drives Saturday. Now completely broke though. I saw that, but man, now it sounds like you're going to be building a FreeNAS server, right? Which is awesome. Well, TrueNAS, I should say. I got to get used to saying that. But that's awesome, man. I saw your pictures in Discord. I didn't. I don't remember if you got them at the sale price. I just remember you saying, now you're broke. And it was like $249 or something. Alan Sharded Jeans. Ansible with Ansible, Tower, AWX is awesome. Yeah, I got to look into this stuff. Got to look into it for sure. I should do some more Ansible stuff. I just don't, no, I'm going to make excuses. These are all excuses. But I don't spin up a lot of VMs that often, but that's not an excuse not to look into it. I'm feeding you excuses right now. I'm totally gonna do some more stuff because it is definitely awesome and powerful. Because I would love to script anytime I spin up a VM instead of cloning it or copying it and then changing all the things that I need to change. I would just love to spin up fresh ones every single time, right? And totally script the whole entire thing. Heck yes. Self-hosted Pro. I'm looking at implementing traffic support into Yacht. Nice. Basically taking a button in the settings to enable it, and it's all auto label containers for their name. Nice. Just need to learn traffic a bit better, but I think it would be a helpful feature. I agree too. I think it would be helpful for all the things that traffic gives you pretty easily. SSL through Let's Encrypt, just being load balancer and handling HTTP requests. I think it's awesome. Obviously, there are other options out there, but man, if that's what you're going to do, yeah, I'd love to see it when it's ready. COVID Connor, also be able to migrate to another server once I need to scale up. All right, I like where you're going. Takano, was mainly the seizure meds that he was taking. It takes around 7 to 12 days for the meds to stabilize and his blood to return to normal. Today's the 7th day, so he's starting to feel much better. That's awesome. Poor puppy. Ilude, is it a bad time to remember buying a 300 meg hard drive for $300? Yeah, it is. It is. It's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy. Yeah, I can't remember. I'm trying to remember what my first hard drive this size was. I don't remember, honestly. But it might have been around there. I don't remember. I thought maybe not. I don't know. I don't know. I should look into it. I had a HP 500 or something with a K62 processor. I don't know. That was my first real PC. I mean, my first computer was a Commodore 64, and that was like way after people were on PCs, but we got it from a yard sale and it was awesome. Hey, Dukes, oh my gosh, is that 50, 18? I'm going to go with 18. Duke 18, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. But yeah, it's crazy if you think back how much people spent on stuff. I can think about things I even bought last year and look at them. I mean, SSDs, like every time you go to buy a new SSD, you're like, how much did I pay last time? Whoa. SSDs are just on this, it's a race to the bottom for them. And then M.2s came, and that, I mean, it was like double time on SSDs. People were creating bigger ones, more players in the game. And then M.2 came out, so all the, SATA ones totally tanked in price. I mean, I think yesterday you could have got like a 500 gig SSD for like, I don't know, $40 or something. I don't know if that's normal, but that seems awesome to me. I copped a couple. Self-hosted. Glad to hear he's doing better. Yeah. Don't know how I would deal with happening to one of my dogs. Yeah, it's tough. ViewPress seems pretty popular if you're looking for an alternative to headless WordPress plus Vue. Nice. I haven't heard of that. I always hear like the alternative that I know of is Ghost. That's the alternative. Oh, here goes my puppy again. Speaking of puppies, he hears someone outside. He's not putting up with it. Takano, it's been a stressful week, but it's a slow journey. But life is life. Yeah, for sure. Poor puppy. Hopefully it gets better. You need him up barking and going crazy like my dog. Takano, and yeah, got it for the sale price, 20 off, $89.99 versus $109.99. Yeah, it's tough. Those drives, they rarely go on sale. And when they do, you gotta hurry and do it. Dowcola, I might actually look into it. At least with Vue, I can do certain things. Done, assuming ViewPress allows async stuff. With Frontity, it goes more that weird way. Ellen Shard, Ansible can do way more than infrastructure automation. Thank you, too. It's just agent host automation, and you can use it for API call automation. Anything really. Yeah, that's good to know, because I'm always curious. Like, I figured it couldn't be an agent, and like I know very little about it. I've seen scripts or playbooks that people use or drive it with, and I'm like, okay, if they're starting with nothing, there can't be an agent. But yeah, I'm gonna do some research for sure. Sigor, with Ansible and the playbook that I created, I can now upgrade 2 of my Ubuntu servers and 2 CentOS with 1 command. It only takes a few minutes to complete. Oh yeah, I love it. Yeah, that's a great So that's where, yeah, that's where I think I could get some value out of it too. Instead of just SSHing into each one of my machines and doing the same normal update thing I do. I don't have auto updates turned on. I do for security, but not for, normal upgrades of packages. Yeah, that's awesome. Please mark darkly. I'm sure people tell you that you have likeness with a slight of mannerism reminiscent to Johnny Depp. Yeah, people have before. People do on YouTube a lot. Yeah, and I think when my hair was a little bit longer, I mean, it's kind of longer now. I mean, I used to shave it off, and now it's like, it's pretty long. But yeah, people say that on YouTube a lot. But yeah, so thank you. I think, well, maybe older Johnny Depp. I don't know about current Johnny Depp. I don't know how he's doing. Hope he's okay, but I've heard otherwise. Well, I don't know. I don't hear from him. Just what I see in the headlines. Anyway, I totally dig your video. Super great pace, high production value. Thank you. Calming voice and inviting. Wish you best of luck in growing your audience. Hey, thank you so much. Thank you. You'll probably notice I'm a little more energetic and animated on here, and that's just because I get to interact with people, and it's totally different vibe on here versus on my VOD stuff. So yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Welcome. You're welcome to hang out as long as you like. Self-hosted Pro looks like it's still a work in progress, but there's a PR if you look through the repo. Nice. I remember the first SSD was 120 gigs for like $80. Now 120 gig SSD is like 20. Yeah, it's so crazy. Techno, that's what I was thinking. It was either buy it now or go broke later, but pay $50 more. Yeah, you gotta hop on those things. Self-hosted Pro, I'd be interested in see if there's anything agentless like Puppet where it's declarative instead of iterative. Yeah, I haven't done a bunch of Puppet stuff either. But yeah, good question. Takano was about to get on the cheaper SMR drive by accident, but realized it made sure it got the red plus drives that are CMR. Nice. Yeah, I made a couple purchases last night and I was like so nervous to hit buy. I'm like, did I get all the right stuff? Not that Amazon wouldn't gladly take it back, but you know how that goes. DJ Crawler AVP. Hey Tim, recent subscriber here. Thank you. Thanks for your tutorials. No problem. I'm a little confused on virtualizing an OpenSense firewall in Proxmox. I can pass all my NICs to the VMs, no troubles. I can pass all my NICs to the VM, no troubles rebooting the whole thing. Let me read that again because it was like a question mark with a statement. Confused on virtualizing OpenSense with firewall and Proxmox. Oh, can I? Can I pass all my NICs to the VM, no troubles, and reboot the whole thing? When you say all your NICs, if you have it depends. So if you say all NICs, Gbone1, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. Welcome. So let me break this down a little bit. So you're saying, can you pass all NICs? It just depends. Like you still have to keep a NIC for your Proxmox server, right? Your host, Proxmox, always still needs network connectivity, so you can't pass that NIC to it. And so that's why I just throw in a NIC that I have laying around, and I'm like, okay, that's the one I pass through to my guest, just because I don't have to mess with anything. I know that this one goes with that. I don't have to mess with IO, MMU, and possibly splitting those devices up. So that's the route I go. But at the end of the day, you can't pass the NIC through that Proxmox host uses. Or you'll be in big trouble. Yeah, I don't even know what will happen. Like the world will explode or something. I think it'll go offline. I think. But yeah. Hopefully that answers your questions. And hey, good to see you. Welcome. Penguin Airlines. All CM can start with just some SSH credentials and bootstrap what they need right on the machine to get started. Even the agent-based ones work this way. Can wget the agent packages and install it. Nice. That sounds awesome. I figured they would have to do something to kind of bootstrap stuff. Astrid, I'm off. Next time your lady comes over, you should come too. Thanks, man, dude. Appreciate it. Tell Colleen I said, what up? Shuckle Samurai was extremely good on Prime Day. I only got a 16 port switch and some Noctua fans. Hey, that sounds like a pretty good deal. I kind of went. I think Prime Day kind of kicked me in the butt for a lot of upgrades I'm going to be doing. So, yeah, 16 port switch and just some fans seems like, you have pretty good self-control, because I didn't. And I usually don't buy into that kind of stuff. It was just like, okay, well, if I'm planning a couple of upgrades, then okay, I might as well get the stuff now. And so I kind of bucketed a lot of my purchase and justified doing it yesterday. So Self-Hosted to Pro, Craven, what's up, dude? How's it going? Oh yeah, all three, man, all three. Thanks for the tier 3 sub, dude. Let's see here. For Proxmox and OpenSense, you can pass through a virtual NIC through. I only have one NIC. Yep, and then your VMs connect to your. Yeah, for sure, for sure. I know. I should have been more clear in that video and just said like, hey, you don't even really. You don't need to pass through two. Yeah, you can totally do a lot of it with a virtual NIC, like you're saying. DJ Crawler, AVP, yep, I want to have everything virtualized and just run my AP and main PC on Ethernet. Everything else in the network will be wireless. Nice. Noctua fans for the Switch? Yeah, just kidding. Yeah, you never know. Switches are kind of, I don't know, some are kind of loud. Yeah. I mean, mine are silent, but I've heard that some, I don't know, some have fans, right? I think some of the PoE ones do and stuff like that. So yeah, that's awesome. Gotta keep that Switch cool. Yeah, I totally agree. All right, caught up early. So earlier, man, can I even talk? Oh, Craven. Whoa, this is we're at the bottom of chat. Yeah, I am. Which is perfect. Because today, I was gonna do something a little bit different. So if you've heard me hinting or asking questions, like a lot of open-ended questions and just opinions on stuff, either in Discord or Twitter or wherever, or even on Twitch, and if you've been on the stream the last week or two, I keep having or mentioning this idea that I have about building a 1U server. And so that's what I kind of need some help with, and I want to get your guys' opinion, and you can help me determine if this is going to be a solid build. All right, let's see the bomb for the next build. Yeah. So I'm gonna say that I'm not gonna show pictures because that's easy, right? I could say like, oh, how about I buy this? How about I buy this? I kind of wanted to just diagram and tell you guys kind of what I was thinking. And so I don't know how well this is gonna work out. And also I don't know when the last time I even went to this screen was. I don't even remember what the screen. Oh, this screen still works. Okay, the screen still works. Funny because I used to spend a lot of time on this screen, and actually I should probably stand up. I'm gonna stand up too if you guys don't mind. So let me mute this because it might get loud. All right, feel like I'm giving a presentation now. You might hear my thing a little bit. So a couple of things. Like I said, I've had this idea lately. That I want to buy I want to build one. Oh, can I almost, and you'll have to apologize. I'm using this tool. Hey, stupid Chuck. Hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. I'm using a tool and all kinds of stuff that I've never used before. So I don't know how this is going to go. I know how to draw on an iPad, but I have this Wacom tablet and all this stuff from my wife. She's a designer, and I'm like, hey, let me borrow it. But I've had this idea, like I want to build a 1U server. And you might be asking like, why 1U? Why do you want a 1U server? And it's funny whenever you see people talk about 1U servers, they're like, yeah, I want this 1U server. I basically don't want it to take any space. I don't want it to draw any power. I don't want it to be, I don't want it to overheat. But then that totally contradicts like, physics or all of the things that come with the 1U server. So I'm setting my expectations kind of reasonable. And so I want to build a 1U server for a few reasons. First and foremost, rack constraints. I have terrible handwriting. So if you can't read this, I apologize. I have terrible handwriting. I can read, I think I can write better in Japanese than I can in English. Just because, because I hand wrote so much Japanese and typed on a keyboard in college. So it was kind of weird. But the first reason is because I have rack constraints, right? So I have an 18U rack, I think. I have an 18U rack, and I have tons of stuff in it already, right? What do I have in there? I have UPS that's taking up 2U. I won't even go into tons of details. Then I have my disk shelf, which is my disk shelf, right? Oh my gosh, I could never be a teacher. I have my disk shelf that's taking up 4U. Then I have my R710. I'll tell you all of my stuff. R710, that's in there. That's taking up 2U. And then I have like my PC case convert. That's taking up 4U. And this is similar to the one that Craven has, but mine's the Chenbro. He has the nice one, the Roswell one. Or Roswell? Is it Roswell or Roswell? I've said Roswell in my head for years, and then I hear people say Roswell, and I'm like, oh man, I said the wrong thing. And this Microsoft thing is converting some stuff. Anyways, PC convert. So really, at the end of the day, I don't have much space left. And let me say that I need to reserve some space in here too, right? 42U rack problem solved. I know, man. I know, but I just can't go there yet. So I'm thinking, I totally agree. Like one option is, yep, just wipe this whole idea of building 1U servers and just go with the 42U rack, right? And then 42U rack, you have all the space you want. I kind of want to keep mine. So I won't say mine's a compact rack, because when I think of compact rack, I think of all these tiny ones you see on Reddit, right? That are super tiny. But I want to be a reasonable size, like, you know, about 2 coffee tables tall, which is about an 18U. Something that comes to about my waist. I'm pretty tall too, as you can't tell, but I'm super tall. I'm not super, I'm 6'5". I don't know if that's super tall, but you know, and so my 18U comes to about my waist, which is kind of a pain in the butt to work on, but it's a nice height to where I can put stuff on top, not too big. It's not a huge eyesore because it's lower than other things. So anyways, all the reasons why having something smaller is a little bit. Yeah, DJ Crawler, wife approval rack challenge. I agree. And I have some stuff coming for that. We're not there yet. But yeah, there's ideas I have too. Because I don't know. Maybe I'm a little bit different than some. Oh, funny. I just realized that that's not the greatest when you can't see what I'm writing underneath. Whatever. I'll work around it. So anyways, so I have some other things coming, right? So in my rack, I need to reserve some space at the top. How do I do a new page? So this is Microsoft's whiteboarding app. I have no idea how to even use this app. Clear canvas? Yeah, let's go for it. All right. So then in my rack, so I have a bunch of stuff at the bottom. Oh man, this is so hard to draw. But I need to leave some stuff at the top, and I'll tell you what's going to go at the top. Because if you couldn't tell from my setup, I have this crazy piece of wood where my switch is, where all these other gizmos and gadgets are, and then my punch down block where all my networking comes in. And spreadsheets, yeah, I totally agree. So this isn't going to be all rack design. It's just an open format so I can convey messages without being constrained to a grid, because some things we'll talk about aren't necessarily a grid. So my one plan is to move some of this stuff over, right? So I need to leave some space up here, and so I'm gonna keep 1U up here. So 1U up here is gonna be my actual my rack with my network patch panel, right? I don't know if it's going on top, but I'm gonna have a patch panel up here, and then I'm gonna have a switch up here of somewhere. You know, this is terrible diagram. See, this is less diagram and more just conveying the message. And then I'm gonna have some kind of network firewall, right? And this is where things are going to get kind of interesting, because I've been virtualizing my firewall for a really long time, but I'll explain a lot of that later on when I get there. Which is super fun to virtualize, but I'm running into some challenges. But anyways, so that leaves me with, I think I have about 5U left. I didn't do the math. You should probably check my math. Hey, Hama, DJZ. Hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. So I have about 5U left. I'll put it, where's Mario? He's right here. I'll put it right here. So I have about 5U open. And so I've been thinking like, okay, if I have 5U open, I can, whatever, I can put in, you know, two 2U servers and then 1U of maybe storage. So I'm kind of running out of space. But at the same time, I'd rather just like kind of think about consolidating or making things smaller, which isn't normally what I guess I'm expanding physically, but at the same time, kind of grouping some stuff together. I hated to deal with non-rack mount stuff. Means the shelf wasted space. Yeah, I totally agree. Craven, those mentioned solutions aren't build it yourself, like he said. Yeah. Good point. I'm not against buying something outright. So let me just talk about like if this was my server, this is going to be my server. We can put anything in this box. I don't know what goes in the box yet, but I'll kind of talk about what I would like to get out of this box. What I would like to get out of this box, I'll put it down here in small. So virtualization. So this is going to be a virtualization host, whatever. We know it's going to be Proxmox. I should just put down PVE. But I was thinking like, VTCN, we're getting there. So I would like a 1U server. It's going to be a virtual host. Some things, so I'll talk about, I have a Dell R710 now. The Dell R710 now is fantastic, and I'm going to keep it. I don't know in what capacity in the future, but I would like to retire some of its functions and apply those to other servers, these servers that I'm building. And I said plural, so I'll spoil it now. 1U servers, so plural. So I'm going to build 2 identical 1U servers. For my virtualization, my new virtualization platform. And so what I would like to do, don't know if it's possible, is instead of what I've been doing lately, which is Dell R710, put everything in a Dell R710, have dual redundant power supplies, dual power supplies, dual processors, multiple cores, tons of RAM. I kind of want to break those up and not maybe kind of load balance, but at the same time, give me some failover. So a combination of failover plus load balancing. Sedated at one point, I wanted to ditch my fully enclosed 24U, but my wife talked me out of it, thankfully. Takano fully enclosed is the way to go. Yeah, quieter and neater looking. Penguin Airlines. My boy was building a cluster. My boy building a cluster. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, Penguin. Thank you. Would recommend something like a Dell CX220 or 6300. I'm not familiar with those. I'll talk about, I guess, some of my requirements and why I might not go the traditional enterprise route here. As you guys know, I'm a fan of consumer grade because I like to be able to walk in a store, virtual store, pull things off the shelf and use it. If it dies, replace it, right? And and usually not as expensive. So, anyways, so in these 1U servers. Most of the 1U servers that you can buy, old enterprise stuff, have 2 processors, right? 2 processors, right? And then they're going to have tons of RAM, right? They're going to have lots and lots and lots of RAM. And then they're going to have 2 power supplies, right? And then they're going to have lots of drive space. This is the worst server ever. So anyways. So in my CPUs, though, I was thinking about something a little bit different. Hey, Cassidy. Hey, resub. 2 months. Thank you so much. I was kind of thinking about doing this a little bit different, right? To where I don't necessarily need, if I make my servers redundant and all the processes that are in there, I was kind of thinking maybe I don't need dual processors and dual power supplies. So I was thinking on a 1U build, if I can get away with it, 1 power supply. I don't know what power supplies look like, but I'm going to say lightning bolt. And I was thinking 1 CPU. Obviously multiple cores. Man, Microsoft helps me out with a square, which I thought I drew pretty well, but it didn't help me out with my lightning bolt. Oh, I should use Google Draw. Oh my gosh, Google or Auto Draw or whatever. That's so awesome. Like they figure out what you're drawing with AI and then create the shape. Anyway. So I was kind of thinking going like this model, doing something like this and breaking up my R710 and to 2 servers that were something like this. I don't know how much RAM. I kind of have an idea, but DDR4 is expensive. And so then, you know, obviously I would have tons of little cores here in this server, and then only 1 power supply. And so if I were to do something like this, you know, I can totally kill this whole entire server if I set everything up right and have, you know, high availability or redundancy, and not have to worry so much about, you know, what the components I put in it. And so I don't know. I don't know if this is crazy, but I'm at a point where, you know, I say this with Docker containers, and people say this with Docker containers in general, you know, stop treating your services like pets and treat them like cattle. And I'm almost to where I might want to start treating my servers as cattle versus pets, and not build the redundancy into each individual system, but build redundancy into the entire system, if that makes sense. And so I've been going over like, okay, how can I make this work? There are a lot of 1U server racks out there. So let me talk about the options we have. There's obviously just buy a used enterprise one, right? Enterprise. I'll erase that because that's not working out so well. So there's buy an enterprise one, but the reason why I don't want to do it is because most of the enterprise ones are going to come with 2 power supplies, 2 PDU. It's probably not the best term for it. They're going to come with 2, you know, CPU. Obviously, I can unplug one. They're going to come with tons of noisy fans, right? They're going to come with like all these super noisy fans. But it gives me a lot of flexibility. Oh, and I'll say this is purely cosmetics, but they're going to be super duper long too, right? Going to be super duper long. Herding cats, yeah. And so I just keep having this idea that maybe there's this perfect 1U server either out there that I can build or buy. And so I ran into some challenges yesterday, and so I'll talk about those here in a second. Randomly highly off-topic question, but is there a way to use Veracrypt automatically on a drive in TrueNAS? I don't know. Someone else asked that in the stream before. I don't know the answer to that, because someone did talk about, hey, they want to be able to encrypt their drive. I don't know the answer to that. Sedated one, herding cats? Yeah. I feel like what I'm doing with these servers, maybe I'm herding cats. The cats are the servers in my mind that don't exist. Penguin Airlines, are you going onboard storage or network storage? Yeah, good question. So for my virtual host, the only real storage I'll have on here is SSD, and it's only going to be, you know, SSD storage. So super fast, in whatever RAID Z2 or something, Z2 or whatever, a RAID. There'll be an array, and but the only storage I'll use is going for my VMs is going to be here. All of my other storage will be over the network, so it'll be network storage. So I'll use something like FreeNAS. You know, haven't figured it all out yet. But most of my virtual machines now, they have, put it this way, only some of my Kubernetes workloads have data or store or mounted storage that they write to that I care about. Not saying that I shouldn't do other things, but no. So for the most part, this will be a combination of running virtual machines, and that in here will actually be. So this is like the physical layout. I can draw like virtually what it should be here in a second, and what some of its tasks are. But really, it's going to be. I'm thinking that these 2 1U servers are going to be my primary workhorses for virtualization. And so basically a couple of Proxmox hosts is kind of what I'm thinking. Sedated, I agree. And DIY 1U is very difficult. 2U is also difficult, but not nearly as much. Yeah, I totally agree. And that's why I need your guys' help for sure. Is because, I mean, you collectively, you guys have done a lot of this stuff. And I mean, I feel like maybe, am I like forcing this to happen? I don't know. There are some other challenges with this too. Penguin Airlines, okay, I think I have enough information. Crazy question for you. Have you considered doing the Project Mini Micro thing? You can fit 2 servers in a 1U and have an Intel V Pro, 1 CPU, and some memory and boot disk. You know, I haven't thought about that. I don't know enough about them yet. I mean, you know, there's no reason why I wouldn't explore it at some point. Project Mini Micro thing, 2 servers in a 1U. Oh, basically like two nodes in, you know, 2 physical nodes in one. Possibly. The other, so that's a great point. That's something I will definitely investigate tonight. Because it has to be kind of cost effective for me. And what I realize is that cost effective is kind of relative. Because I plan to use these for years, right? And I've had my R710. I've only had my R710 for next month will be exactly a year, and it's served me super well. Like, I don't regret that purchase at all. But I'm trying to consolidate, trying to reclaim some space in my rack, and at the same time give me some kind of redundancy. And so the other thing I was thinking, so let's say for instance, let's say I can do something like this. Then it kind of comes down to CPU, right? Let's focus on the CPU first for a second. This is what I've been gathering. So if you've been on any of the other streams lately, you've seen me learn a lot about AMD systems. So I'll be the first to admit, you know, I've had Intel everything for a long time. My last AMD processor was AMD MP. I never had an XP because I had an MP because I ran multi-processors way back in the day with a Tyan board and everything. It's kind of crazy, and people probably thought I was crazy, but they're probably right. And so what I was hoping for yesterday with my CPU choice was that I could do something AMD and maybe go desktop class. Now, I know with desktop class processors, there's a lot of challenges, right? Everything from getting low pro coolers, that might be okay. But then you have cache, you have cores. Obviously on server CPUs, you get higher L1, L2, L3 cache. Desktop processors, you don't. That may or may not matter. And so yesterday I was like, okay, well, you know, it's whatever. It's Prime Day. I'm going to buy these AMD Ryzen 2600s. This is what kind of got me down this crazy path at first. Because I was thinking, like, what if I could just use some Ryzen 2600s, right? 2600s, which was, what, 6 core? 6 core, 12 threads. I'm writing it underneath me, but you can't see it. 6 core, 12 threads. Is this the undo? I'm kind of hoping one of these buttons does undo. If not, I'll reassign it someday, if I ever do this again. So far, not so bad, but 6 core, 12 thread. Oh, my Japanese is so much better than my English. And so I thought about going down this route and putting just a Ryzen in here. But when I was looking, like most of the motherboards you see, so 2 things. One, I learned a lot about, you know, Intel integrated graphics, Xeon boards, and Ryzen's. The thing I noticed was that, there we go. Oh yeah, change the lights, cool it off in here. With this Ryzen 2600, it doesn't have an APU, which kind of sucks. Which kind of sucks, because I was like, you know what, that kind of stinks, because now, if I don't have an APU, now I got to use up one of these PCI Express slots, and I've noticed in most 1U cases, does anyone have Windows number? Yeah, tell them to call me. First tell them who I am, and then tell them again who I am, and then, yeah, tell them to call me. Because he would be like, what? Anyways, and so yeah. So I started going down this path. Can I do a Ryzen? Can I do a Ryzen? Can I do a Ryzen? I want to do a Ryzen. They're only $149 right now. That's a steal to get 2 Ryzens in here. But my constraint with my 1U board was that hey, I only get one PCI express slot that I can put something in because this 1U board isn't tall enough. And so that was kind of, nobody shook his hand. All right, yeah, it's awesome you met him. Where'd you meet him at? And so I don't want to use the only PCI Express slot I have in here for video, only for this server to be mostly headless, right? Because it's mostly going to be headless. And I know I could put in a video card, do what I want to do, take the video card out, and then let it run totally headless. I don't even know if boards will boot. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. So then 2600 was kind of off the board, which was kind of disheartening to me because I thought it was going to be a winner. It was so cheap too. And the nice part about the AMD boards is I could get ECC for the RAM, right? I could put ECC in here. So I was like, okay, I can get some ECC. I can get a 2600, but again, it doesn't have integrated graphics. And you guys know that. But these are all things I learned. And so I learned too that, yeah, even if it has obviously the VGA adapter or whatever, it needs the APU on the CPU. So that sucks. Anyways, why do I need an APU? Just because sometime I might need to plug in a monitor for something. I know I could plug it in temporarily, right, and get it going. But then after that, I probably don't need it, and you're probably right. But I don't like the idea of like just every time I need to plug in a monitor to do anything, just keep, tearing this thing apart and putting a video card in. So good question. You're getting there. Yep, you're getting there. IPMI. So that was my next thing. I was like, okay, let me find an IPMI. Exactly. You guys, you're with me. You're with me. If I can write IPMI. So exactly. I was like, okay, well, if I have IPMI, I'm just drawing stuff randomly on here. If I have IPMI, that is pretty much the definition of headless. I could still do this. I don't need APU. I could run a 2600. I could get it super cheap. I can get ECC RAM, although expensive, and do it over IPMI, right? Yeah, exactly. Then I realized how expensive these boards are with IPMI. And so you're right. I saw the ASRock one. And while it has it, they're kind of expensive. I think it's like close to $300 for that motherboard, which, whatever. If that worked and it gave me everything I needed to where I could do what I want to do, sure, I'll pay it. But then I started thinking and then I was reading the reviews and people are like, oh, the IPMI on there is super basic and all this stuff. And then I started thinking, oh man, is that what I should do? Is that the way I should go? Is to just buy this, and I will say most like you guys have mentioned, most of these boards that are, desktop boards, kind of, sort of, or custom server boards, there aren't many of them out there. And the ones that are super expensive. And then I thought, okay, well, maybe I'll do this the other way. Maybe I'll just go back to Intel and look at Intel stuff. And Asus has a bunch of stuff where they have IPMI, and they have actually lots of boards with IPMI that support ECC. But these are all the workstation class boards. So these are like the top tier enthusiast boards, and you're paying $500-600 for these boards. And so I was like, okay, probably not the best way to go. And so yeah, I've just kind of been noodling this over for like a week in my head. So let's see here. Sedated Supermicro has been my go-to for DIY servers. Nice. Probably better options out there, but that's what I've worked with. Yeah. VTCN, never understood why people pay so much for ECC RAM. Yeah. Error correction. I don't know. But which is it's a good point, because I wish I could just turn the page on this thing. What is this, a note? I don't even know what's going on here. Can I do a plus? Man, Microsoft, just make this easy. I don't want to clear my thing. Can I just say new? How do I say new? Microsoft, come on, buddy. Anyways, I'll clear this out. How do I clear this? There we go. So yeah, DDR4. DDR4. Expensive. That's not how you do expensive. You wanna know how you do expensive? You put lots of dollar signs there, like Yelp, right? This is a 5-star, $5 restaurant. So DDR4, super expensive right now. And so this is where, again, where I'm like trying to balance this. Like, do I go with an older board, put in older gear, put in older stuff just to save some money? Or put in a newer board, a newer CPU to get DDR4 and pay a little bit more, but maybe get some more longevity out of it. And so, so ECC RAM, I totally agree. Like, you know, only in my servers do I get ECC RAM. But the thing is, right now, ECC RAM for DDR4 is cheaper than DDR4. That's non-ECC, at least last I checked. And so I've been looking, right? So I can get 32 gigs, is what I looked at. 32 gigs for around, I don't know, $100 a stick, which is kind of salty when you think I want to put 128 in each of these, you know, which is, you know, $400, you know, and then times 2 is 800. Oh man, see? And just in RAM, almost $1,000. So that's where I'm kind of like, oof. So I agree that it, like, hey, you know, people may not have problems with ECC RAM or whatever, but right now ECC is cheaper than regular DDR. So I totally agree. And hey, if I can get ECC cheaper than regular RAM right now, I totally will. And I think that's just because RAM prices are, well, it's like the RAM for desktops are all coated in, they're all bejeweled in RGB right now. So they're pretty expensive. But I don't need my RAM to be bejeweled or lighting up. I just need it to be solid and, you know, dependable. So that's where it's kind of tough. And even on eBay, and it's funny, I mean, I'm just going right out to Amazon, right? Amazon, DDR4, 32 gig, and search for it. $100 a stick, roughly. That's, I mean, people are selling it used on eBay for more than it is on Amazon, right? Right now, it's like Micron or Samsung. I think those are the two sticks, so 32 gigs. Let's see here. Hey, Tim in chat, this is motherboard option. Take the 4 lanes off the CPU, has an onboard GPU, AS rack, AM4 motherboard with IPMI. I think I saw that one, and I think it's like 268 or something. Penguin Airlines, oh, you want 128 gig? Yeah, your best bet is to go registered then. Thank you. RGB, it makes it perform better, right? I think so. I think, well, it depends. It depends on the color. Isn't it like if it's red, it'll overclock. If it's blue, it'll run cooler. If it's green, it'll run more efficient. So you got to make sure you get the correct colors on your CPU and your RAM based on the performance you want. For the price, you won't really be able to find cheap unregistered RAM. I totally agree. Sedated, I picked up DDR3 ECC for cheap, 128 gig for $50 in the gray market last month. Yeah, I would love to pay that. Cause man, that DDR4 right now, like you said, we saw it's $400. I'm kind of, oof. You know, if I could do 256, that would be awesome. But then that's $800 a server, and I need 2. That's a lot of money I don't have. So, anyways, probably not an option to go 256. But I've seen on some of the boards though that if you get server boards, obviously they have more slots. Imagine if that worked out. Yeah, totally. I mean, I totally stole that from a meme. I can't remember where I saw it, but they were basically, it was showing every color of RAM, every color of RGB and what it did for your PC. It was actually pretty great. Some people went to great lengths to figure that out. Sounds about right with the green RAM. Yeah, I've seen some RAM group buys on our VMware home lab before. Takano, you definitely want to make sure your RAM is solid instead of liquid. That's true. Oh, I love it. Dad jokes. Oh yes, that's so good. Jathbrisk, are you sure you need DDR4 platform? I'm not entirely sure. I think that, so let me put it this way. So let's talk about processors, because I think that'll help me determine RAM. Because I think that'll help me think about RAM. Because for processors, so let's say, so we talked about, I guess, some AMD options. I don't know if that's going to work unless I pay for the ASRock board and build it out that way. I'm not entirely sure yet, only because I'll say this. Going back to my initial drawing, if I build out the server, I'll have to buy the CPU, obviously. I'll have to buy, no. So this is the board, that's the CPU, this is the RAM, and then power supply, and then, all my drives. And so going with the ASRock, I thought about it, and I'm considering it, but I'm also wondering too if there's like any synergy or anything I can do where I can buy the case which has some of this stuff, like the power supply. And I know that doesn't affect the board. It may or may not, because Supermicro does some of this stuff, right? Supermicro does some of this stuff, and I looked at it, and it's interesting. It's interesting. I'll say that. And so, with I guess I have the same problem with AMD or Intel. The only thing I was thinking with Intel is like Intel Xeons are pretty cheap. You can get some Xeons for a decent price right now on the used market, right? And so that's where I was like, okay, do I build Xeon processors? And I think there's two series. I don't know what they call them. There's a couple that I'm interested in. It's like the E5 like 26 something V3. And then the other one I was thinking was like E5, is it 1600? I don't know what V they're on. And so I'm kind of deciding, no, I'm not deciding, I'm exploring these two avenues. Cause if I realize after doing this, I think thinking about my processor first helps me decide a lot of these other things. Even though you saw the avenue I just went down with the AMD one didn't really help all that much. I mean, it helped me rule out some things, but it didn't really give me the answer I think I was looking for, which is okay. A maybe is okay. A no is okay too in my book. DDR3 platforms are too old. That's kind of where I've been going, is because, and I won't spend too much time on it, and you guys know this better than I do. DDR3 is going to mean an older board. It's going to mean an older CPU. It's going to mean, just older tech in general. Those boards then are going to maybe not have USB 3, not that I'd really need it. They might have older SATA speeds, probably not if it's an enterprise board. But you know what I mean. And I think that speaks to what you're saying, Built to Fire, is that, the platform's a little bit older. That's not to say that my Dell R710 right now doesn't have DDR3 and it super performs. But it does at a cost. At a cost, I think, of efficiency. Because, newer processors, I think with even higher TDPs, can be more efficient than older processors, even with lower TDPs, is what I'm learning. Been doing a ton of research. I haven't had to build something. Well, I build PCs from scratch, no problem. But I had to do a lot of digging on a lot of server stuff. Most of the server stuff I've done in the past, just buy. Buy and you customize. You're more like a picker. Pick your part, put it in there, and it gets shipped to you, right? Never had to build one totally from scratch. Still not even sold. That's what I'm doing. Hey, Self-Hosted Pro. Hey, thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Sid Cassidy, I don't know if I called that one out, but man, thank you so much. That was 25 minutes ago. Hopefully I did. I think I did. But thank you for the resub, Prime, 2 months. Sedated, one of my servers is an E5 620 V2. She's old, but does the work. DDR3, but new enough to have UEFI. If you go older than 2012 or so, then usually no UEFI. Interesting. So this one, so I think this is DDR3, like you said, right? DDR3. Is the 2600 DDR3? Because I thought this was DDR4. I thought this is when we start getting into some DDR4, the V3s. Ployd, I'm a huge fan of the 1 liter micros for your home server stuff. If cattle is the goal, build redundancy at the software layer. Yes, software define all the things rather than paying lots of money for hardware. Redundancy, 1 or 2 U servers. Quieter, low power draw cluster and leverage the janky cheaper hardware. Plus then it has fun of seeing how far you can push those little desktops for a couple $100 off eBay. Yeah, so I totally agree with that too. The only thing I will say, and so if I wanted to build out like a monster cluster, I would go, yeah, I totally agree. I would just buy like tons of little cheap devices, do something, cluster or build redundancy in the software. I'd basically run Kubernetes on them all and it'd just be like, if one died, whatever. But at the same time, this has to run like some of my normal services too. So when I say, it's virtualization, running Kubernetes is going to be one of the workloads on both of these servers. It still needs to do, so sorry, I probably didn't say that. It still needs to do some of the tasks that I normally do, that my R710 is picking up right now, like some Blue Iris stuff, like some video encoding stuff, right? And some Windows, desktop stuff, for sure. So that's where I kind of get. So I don't want to go all super low end. Because like I said, at the end of the day, these 2 servers still have to do some moderate lifting. Most of the software that I write myself and host myself, super, super lightweight. Could run on a Pi. But at the same time, this is going to be one of many tasks. So yeah, good call there. Self-hosted Pro, going to get some sleep. Thank you. Hey, have a good evening. Thank you. Good luck with when you build. Thank you. Sedated. So I found V2 is DDR3, but V3 is when they go to DDR4. Cool. Thank you for that tip. Because that's where I was getting a little bit worried. And I think I was going to go V3 because those are a little bit newer. If I did go this route, mainly because newer platform. It does drive up the cost a ton. Floyd, I agree. I think instead of expanding my existing E308D with more nodes, I will just stand up new clusters using those. Nice. Penguin Airlines, totally agree, but if he's shooting for 120 RAM, then he's going to have some trouble. The E300 series Super Micro server support 128 gigs of RAM. Small, low power, and pretty quiet. 6 NICs and IPMI. And 10 gig Ethernet. E300. How much do those things run though? I'm curious because I'll need 2. And maybe that's not I don't know, maybe that's not the way to go, or maybe that is the way to go. And so I will say, Ploy, gotcha, makes sense. Real quick, Jay, man, John, how's it going? How did Tim love the Super Micro hardware? They work well. Nice. Okay, E300. That is kind of sounding like seems decent. Around 600. So I'll tell you what I do. So I have looked into some Super Micro stuff too. And this was the first. It's hard to figure out Super Micro stuff. It's hard, just because the reason why I say it's hard is because you find the chassis you want, and then they're like, it can work with these boards, and you just got to do way too much cross-referencing, but it's cool. So I did look at some Super Micro stuff too, right? So I'll talk about like some of the things that I liked about Super Micro, where I started thinking about, okay, maybe I can justify the cost of paying that. And then I started realizing, like, is this value? Is it not even a cost play? It's more I'm getting a better value. And so ITX, if you recall, nice. That seems pretty decent. So things about Super Micro, because I did a lot of exploring. Somehow I still gotta edit all my videos and everything else on top of all this. Anyways, so things I liked about the Super Micro when I looked on 1U was that one, the power supply came with the case. So I'm gonna break this up as if I was building it on my own, but they supply a lot of those parts. So the thing I liked about this came with the power supply. That was awesome. Well, let me draw stuff. came with a power supply, didn't come with CPU, and didn't come with RAM. I'm just gonna slot these in here, and then I'll fill in with what it came with, and we'll talk about it. That's one, that's two. I'm just gonna say, that's the back, so I'm gonna say it's like this, and then I'm gonna say like this. Let's go that way. And then let's go here, because I'll talk about what those are here in a little bit. Ploy, good luck, Tim. Love the channel. Keep up the good work. Looking forward to seeing you when you decide on Gotta Bounce. Hey, thank you so much, dude. Really appreciate your insight and for sharing, for sure. Hey, Tim, can you sorry, I can't do Penguin Airlines. My hands are off right now on Twitch. I can't adjust any of the knobbies. But you're definitely welcome to share it in Discord for sure. Hands are off right now. Even though I trust your link, sorry. So things I do like about Supermicro, because I looked into it. Power supply, check. So if you buy the case, it's going to come with the power supply, right? And then it's going to come with dry bays, right? It's going to come with the one I looked at. It's going to come with 4 dry bays, and then it's rack mount. I don't know how this makes it rack mount, but it does for me. And so that was interesting because a lot of if you do it yourself, you got to buy the case, maybe find the power supply, then buy the motherboard, and then maybe this won't all fit in here the way you want it to fit in here. So there's a lot of questions, unanswered questions, if you were to totally build your own 1U. But with Supermicro, they kind of figured it out too. Then once you pick your board, what I realized, or what I liked, man, Windows, come on. What I liked about this was that, one, the holes line up, right? The holes line up here, which is nice. The power is going to match the board, right? You're going to get the right power supply for the right board. And then what I've noticed too is on Supermicro boards, one, IPMI comes with it. So that's nice, because then I can totally run it headless. Oh yeah. The other thing I noticed too, I'm gonna do this out here, this guy. The other thing I noticed too on their boards, VGA, which, hey, I may or may not need to plug it in, but who knows? I might not be able to get into BIOS or something to where IPMI is not gonna work. So at least for the time, or a short period of time. Arcus, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. So VGA was cool. Then they had dual gigabit NICs, which is cool. And then I started realizing, okay, well, some boards, if I'm going to build my own, may or may not have IPMI. Some boards may or may not have VGA built into the board. They're going to rely on the CPU to have an integrated graphics card on there, but Xeons don't have integrated graphics, so the board has to have it. So then you got to find a board with it. Yeah, dual NICs, not a big deal. They're probably all going to have them. And then the only thing I've been noticing though too is with the RAM, I keep going back to this DDR4. Like, do I really need it? But that kind of dictates a lot of other things. Yeah, I totally agree, Sedated. Supermicro boards kind of need to be paired with Supermicro. I totally agree. That's what I thought, and that's what I realized too. Because I thought for a minute, like, hey, maybe I can get by getting a case, and then I'll put my own board in it. And then that's where I went down this rabbit hole of like, okay, if I get my own board, I still have to figure out all these things: IPMI, VGA, NIC. Yeah, that's going to be there. And then, will the power supply even be able to power this board? Am I going to be drawing too much power for it? Yeah, I'm Lymanson. I already have one of those. I think I'm gonna. I don't know if I even build myself. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So the other thing, thank you, I'm Penguin Airlines. They're a lot cheaper than you would have guessed. Yeah, and I've seen older ones. Like, I think people in Discord today were linking ones that were like, $180 for an HP. It's an older HP. But I want to get away from dual redundancy, like a bunch of power wasting things within a server when I want to have 2 servers versus one powerful redundant server. So then, the other thing is, the other cool thing I noticed with Supermicro, and I think you guys were some of you guys might have saw this last night, is that they have these SATA DOM things, which someone, and I gotta tilt my board, but they have SATA DOM, which is kind of cool. But the reason why I think it's cool is I'll tell you in a second. Let's see here. Support, then it works, but there's a script out there that generates key based off the Mac on Lemonson. Yeah, DDR3 RAM is so cheap right now. You can get a nice enterprise server, 128 gigs RAM. Yeah, I don't want to run super old enterprise stuff anymore though. That's my thing. And I'm not saying, I mean, I still have my R710, works fantastic, but I would like to shut that thing down sometime. And only turn it on maybe on demand or when I need it, but yeah, more to come. Let's see here. I gotta watch prices so I can snag another on Lemonson. Yeah, SATA DOM is pretty cool. Running SATA DOM on both my servers. Yeah. So that I learned about SATA DOM. So someone mentioned SATA DOM in Twitch, I don't know, a month ago, and I was like, I have no idea how that even works. And so I had to figure a lot of that out. And so what I've noticed though, on Supermicro boards, they have SATA DOM ports. And the cool thing is about the SATA DOM ports is that they get power over SATA, and there are these little tiny drives, I'm going to draw it like this, that plug in onto SATA, and they're powered. They have some clips or whatever here that go into there, right? Super cool. The reason why I think that these are cool for at least this build is because most of the ones I've seen only have 4 drive bays, at least the Supermicro ones I was looking at. And so for me, this is going to be, this is going to be a raid of just SSDs, no OS, right? And so they have additional SATA here that I think you guys saw in Discord. We were trying to find creative ways to get more drives in here. I could obviously tape a drive in there or something, but there's not much room in here for that, right? And so I think the SATA DOM is pretty cool. They're kind of expensive though. I don't know. I think a couple of you guys said you've used them. John, same here. I have mirrored SATA DOMs. Awesome. How do you like them? They work okay? How's the read-write speed? So for me, like the only thing really that I'm curious about is more just like the longevity of this thing. I don't care about performance so much because for me, the SATA DOM, the only thing it's gonna run is Proxmox, to be honest. And maybe like a tiny bit of storage for ISO. And when I mean tiny, like 2 ISOs on there, right? It's gonna be Linux and probably Windows. I don't even need to do that. Let's see here. Penguin Airlines, but the modules are like $9 on eBay, so I'm not sure. Maybe I missed part of that. John, yep, there's a power cord for older boards. Yeah, I have. If you're talking about SATA DOM, yeah, I've seen that, where you can just run a 3-pin Molex to it or something. Camel website for Amazon price tracking alerts, half the battle right there, yeah. Oh, yeah, I totally agree. I've loved Camel for years. The funny thing is, I started learning about a lot of these sites. They're plugging in their affiliate codes too when you share. But I'm like, all this time, I'm like, how can someone do this for free and maybe just advertising? Nope, because when you go to share a link, they're plugging in their affiliate code in there, and I'm like, oh, so genius. Anyways, Kit.co kind of does it too, but Kit.co is just a little weird. Anyways, I'm Lymanson. What is the budget for the server? Good question. It's a great question. That's a great question. I don't want to say I don't have one, but I do know that I don't. That's a great question. And this might seem kind of ridiculous, but I'm willing to pay, and this might seem like a lot, but you got to understand that I'm going to have these for a long time, but I'm thinking around 1,200 or maybe 13. That sounds like a lot. I know right off the bat, you're like, oh my gosh, $1,300 and you're going to build 2. And I don't know if that's totally possible. It might be. I mean, if you look at DDR3 alone, or DDR4 or something like this, we already said that that's $400. you know, just for 128 gigs of RAM. And I don't want to really go any lower than 128 gigs. Honestly, I want to have the room for expansion to go to 256 someday when the prices come down, but I can get by on 256 for each. So yeah, that's a good question. I haven't really thought about the price tag. I know that, you know, obviously it's not going to be like $2,000. Like I'm not going to put as much money into this as like I would for like my desktop, right? Or, you know, my gaming PC, you know, it's really easy to go over $1,200 there. Cavalcani, always set my budget first. Yeah, you give your firstborn. Yeah, I agree. But that's tough. I agree. Should have a budget. 100% agree. I have a budget. I do it every month. I have a budget meeting with my wife, and we have a, you know, keep it zero-based budget. I'm totally about budgeting. It's just kind of hard, like in this at least what I'm trying to do for the size I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to accomplish. So I totally agree. Techno John. There are some. Whoa, Shuckle Samurai, dude. Five gifted subs, dude. Thank you so much, dude. Shuckle Samurai. I'm Lymanson, Nero Lynx, Holy Merc, Mrs. Pickman, and C. Weatherford. Enjoy the gifted sub from Shuckle Samurai, dude. Thank you so much, man, dude. Thank you so much. Oh, dude. And then VTCN. Oh, dude, thanks for the sub, dude. You guys are awesome, dude. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. I know that. Yeah, just no, I really appreciate it. That's crazy. Thank you. Oh yeah, Link's gonna be going crazy. So yeah, I totally agree on the budget and the budget with wiggle room. I feel like this is it's kind of weird because I'm justifying it in my head by thinking like, okay, I'm replacing my R720, but I'm not. It's still going to be there. Maybe I'll sell it someday, but I'm kind of justifying that in there. I guess that's where my wiggle room is. I mean, I'm going to keep my R720 around. It's an awesome workhorse. But I want some redundancy and I want to use a little less power. And I am thinking that even moving to a newer platform, you know, and having one CPU and dividing that across two, I think I'll still be drawing less power than my R710 does with very similar specs, but all on one big beast of a machine. And plus those things are built tough and, you know, they're like 3 feet long, like, and the fans are, you know, cooling off a lot. Anyways, but I'll definitely do the power draw test when I get a little bit closer. I'm still like in this whole design kind of figuring it out phase for me. But man, dude, thank you guys so much for the subs. I really appreciate it. So that's where I'm kind of like, I'm not sure yet. Like, go super micro where it's not totally custom. It's kind of like, it's like I'm a picker of server parts, and only some will work together. And so it's basically like I'm building my own, but it's a super micro. Stormcloud, hey, how's it going? Love your face, man. Hey, thank you. Haven't seen you in a while. How are you doing? Good to see you. Or good to see your name. Hope you're well. Hope everything's going good for you. I haven't talked to you in a while. Yeah, hope you're good. Good. How are you? Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, it has been a while. How are things with your channel and everything? And how are things with, I don't know, you know, how are things with the gamers? Are you still doing stuff with them? But yeah, anyways, hope you're well. Hope you're well. Welcome. I haven't seen your name. So Stormcloud is another person that I met relatively close to around the time I started streaming. So it's good to see an old name. So yeah, good to see you. Hope things are going well. Cavalcanti, the design part of planning is always the fun part. Thank you. I feel like it's a little stressful for me because, like, you know, I'm like, so this is going to be my platform, my virtualization platform, for, you know, years. My R710, awesome, love it, still have it, we'll still keep it. You know, that's been my platform for about, you know, almost a year, and it is awesome. It got me off of desktop stuff. I was able to migrate all of my virtual machines there, run all of the workloads I always talk about there, like zero problems. But I'm kind of thinking like maybe this is like a V2 or I don't know, V1.5. I don't know. And so I agree, Sedated. It's hard because like, you know, it's like when you design anything, right? Like you designing UI, designing anything. You just don't want to make a lot of assumptions up front, because making assumptions up front, then like, you know, you'll pay for it later when it's almost too late. So yeah, I'm and if you've been, you know, on the stream or in Discord, you've seen me asking some of these questions or even talking about it, and it's been on my mind a ton. So I just don't want to make any huge mistakes. Stormcloud, great knowledge. Just started back, actually, awesome. VTCN, yeah, spent a month figuring out what I wanted to replace the Dell C6100 with. What did you replace it with, VTCN? What'd you replace it with? What'd you go with? Stormcloud, you're the first person I met streaming. Yeah, doesn't it seem so long ago? It does. Yeah, I've seen you've been designing. I also, so Stormcloud does a lot of artwork. Well, one, she's really awesome. Two, she does a lot of artwork live. She plays WoW. I think I'm keeping up a little bit. I've been creeping a little bit. Keanu Rev, hey, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. Stormcloud also does a lot of designing stuff. She has a YouTube channel. She can do emotes too, which I might need at some point. So I should talk to you, we should talk. But yeah, good to see you. Logic, would PC Part Picker help with the build? Not sure if they have server components. Yeah, great question. It's funny. So that's an awesome question. I did look at, I didn't look there. I was actually looking at the virtual PC builder and thinking like, can I build a server? Like, do they have a server expansion for the virtual PC builder or whatever that game is called? Because I was like, this would be fantastic. Like, I could totally build it, and they didn't. I don't think they ever will. So this is what I came up with and stuff. I'm just gonna draw tons of stuff. Penguin Airlines, I'd hit up Lab Gopher. So that's not something I know about. I'll have to check it out. Sedated, some people find building a car more fun than buying a car. Oh, that's, hey, I can totally relate to that. Sometimes I have, when it comes to servers, or I guess PCs or any computers, sometimes I've bought the car and sometimes I've built the car. Most of the time, almost every time I've built. I think the only PCs in my life that I bought was my very first one. And I mean, if you count buying my R710 off of eBay used, that's the only other one. So really, my first and my last ever are the only two I've ever purchased. Everything after that I built. I built it for all, you know, family, parents, friends, always build. So yeah, I guess my first and last machine I've ever purchased were buying, I guess, or that I've owned, I bought. Sedated, some people, yeah. PC Geek, thank you. Super Micro, all right. I gotta check this out. So Super Micro E300-8Ds. And so I'm assuming you bought them used, right? E300. Oh gosh, man, I need to reassign this back here. E300 8D. Bought them new. All right, that sounds like a steal of a price. But is it mini ITX in there? And does it have one or more PCI Express slots? Because that's I didn't say that was a requirement, but it kind of is for me. I need at least one that I can get to from the back. And so hence, if you saw how all the questions I was asking last night or today in Discord about how can I get a weird drive in here, is because all the cases I were looking at on one use only allow one PCI Express slot. You probably can't see where I'm drawing. And so I was thinking of a way I can get another drive in here. I think SATA might be the answer, you know, down here a little bit. But yeah, I'm not sure though. ITX is the form factor, all right. Sedated, oh wait, here we go. Sorry about that. Logic, I relate, Tim. I have fun building, not designing the system or buying the components. Yeah, I struggle with buying and just like committing to this thing. I don't know, and even when it comes to, I don't know, like even I enjoy the journey a lot too. Because like I used to say, like way back in the day, every time I would upgrade a PC or build a new PC, I'm like, oh yeah, I know what I'm doing this weekend. Build my new PC, getting it all just perfect. And at the end of the day, after I got Windows installed and all my utilities or whatever, then I'm like, okay, what now? And it's like, well, I can do the same exact thing I could do before, but just a little faster. And I'm like, oh man, like all the fun was like, you know, putting it together. Not the cable management. I'm not too good at cable management. Actually, I did pretty good on my PC here. This is the only PC right here that I put any effort into in cable management. It turned out pretty good. Let's see. Gimli. Okay. Oh wait, John. ITX is the form factor. Okay. Doesn't look rack mount unless you put ears on it. Okay, so I do need rack mount. I've seen the super micro ones. Is that the one that has the weird mesh in front? So I do need rack mount. Sorry, I didn't know if I made that clear in the beginning, but yeah, this is going in my server rack for sure. Sorry. Let me grab a drink. VTC. 2 PCIe slots, that's pretty good. And it's 1U? I haven't seen any 1Us that give you 2 PCIe slots out the back, because that would be ideal. So then it has a riser card, I assume. So it has a riser card with 2 PCIe slots. Sedated one doesn't look rack mount unless you put some mirrors on it. ITX is the form factor. Gimli Theon. LOL, the designing and researching is so much fun for me. Nice. VTC, everything is internal, which is the bad thing. Okay, so I'm getting confused. So is this a rack mount server? My first question on this E300D. I think that's what we're still talking about. And then is it really 1U? Because I haven't seen a 1U server yet with 2 PCIe Express slots that you can get to in the back, which is awesome if it is. I'm not saying it's not possible. It's been hard to find something like that. Yeah, curious. Penguin Airlines, to get more than 1 PCIe slot, you will have to have the risers. Yep. To have the risers, the best going OEM server. Yeah, that's a good tip right there. Yeah, I think the only way you could get any PCIe slot devices on 1U would be a riser. I think, because because the board is so small. I wish I could push this up. Can I not move this document around? Can I grab this document? Come on, Microsoft. I want to move this. What's ruler do? Ruler? Oh, I don't need that. Oh, this is what I get for testing out a new. How would this even be helpful right here? You just have this never-ending ruler. Get out of my way, ruler. Okay, this is pinch to zoom. Is there? Oh, there we go. Okay, I can zoom out a little bit more. All right, I regained a little bit of space. But when I saw like all the PCIe stuff, like it's 1U, right? And if your board's here, and this is a terrible drawing, but your PCIe, like I've seen where you have to put in the riser because your card you have to put in the riser. This is a weird angle because that's the only way that this card would be, because otherwise it would be coming out of the 1U like this. You know what I mean? Your card's this long. I don't know how that turned into a pic, but yeah. So I think you understand what I'm saying. But I'm curious if you can get 2 in there. VTCN, if you need 4 drives, you would have to go all NVMe to fit them in the case. Okay, and I don't want to use NVMe on these drives, mainly because I want to just use like consumer SSDs. And that's something I probably didn't talk about a lot too, but I want to use just like consumer SSDs, these. And I know that wear and tear and all that stuff might be a problem. But if I have 4 and I do like a RAID Z2, I can lose 2 at once and still be okay. And so that's kind of what I was thinking too. Either 1 terabyte, 4 of them, or 500 gig. 4 of them times 4. so that I can just, whatever, they die, whatever, I'll send them in for warranty. They have 5-year warranty. Most of them do. I didn't want to go NVMe, mainly because like one, I'm sure I'll have plenty of lanes, I'll have plenty of lanes on this server. If I am going to go Intel or something like that, plenty of lanes. So not too worried about it, but just the cost and the heat, those things give off a lot of heat too. And I know it's a server, but at the same time, I kind of want to reduce it where I can. Gimli Theon, yeah, the Supermicro 1 RU are small. Sci-Fi Jeep, I like PCPartPicker.com for computer builds. It has compatibility checker to make sure you go, oh yeah, that's true. I don't know if they do server stuff. I'd be interested to know if they do. I haven't looked in a while. Usually I look at a build that someone sends me and I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. Or someone says like, what's the best budget PC I can build for $500? That's the first place I go. But I never start there. You know what I mean? That's always like my destination. I never start there. So I'm curious to know. Sedated one, yeah, needs ears to be mounted. Okay. The PC Geek, I was thinking that too. Riser card, maybe low profile too. Yeah, it's so hard to draw, but I think you understand what I'm saying. Is that when you have, one U server, you have to have a riser card because this card is too tall to go this way. So it has to go this way. And then since it does go that way, I've only seen where you can only fit one card in there. Because the riser, there's just not enough room in a 1U. If it's a true 1U server, I haven't seen any that have enough room. That'd be awesome if they did. On the PC Geek, you could almost use a stick mini USB flash drive in there for booting from. Yeah, that's a good point too. I don't know if it has any internal USB, but yeah, I could put one in the back. That's a good point, USB flash. I've heard conflicting stuff about these, like, whether or not Proxmox will do way too many writes to this, to where, it may destroy that flash drive. I'm not sure. But USB is also an option. Let's go back to white if I can click on it. USB. That I can plug right in the back, right? Because I kind of like that. I ran ESXi like that for a long time. It felt weird. Like, I know it was totally fine. It just kind of felt weird, and I'm not against, I guess, feeling weird. I mean, SATA DOM is going to kind of feel weird to me too, because, at the end of the day, I think it's compact flash. I don't know. So yeah, that might work too. That might be a cheaper option. I like that. Grab the title bar. Wait. Grab the title bar? Am I clicking something wrong? Out the back though, it's just one. Oh yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, VTCN. Yeah, riser. So that's exactly, and that's the same on the Supermicros, right? Some of these boards, like I'm not drawing it well, but some of these boards, what I've seen is you have your case, then you have your board, and you have 1, whatever, 2, you have your PCI, but then the riser just cuts this thing right here. So then you can only plug 1 in. And that's where I was asking in Discord earlier, is there like a way I can like sneak a little drive into here, But that's not gonna work. And so that's where then I was like, okay, it might be SATA DOM, or it might be USB now. That's also another option too. Kind of like the USB one, because the other ones aren't going to get much action, and I'm sure it's a lot cheaper than SATA DOM stuff. Kind of looked at SATA DOM stuff. It is kind of expensive, but I don't know. But then again, I was saying like, hey, SATA DOM kind of has the cool factor. I don't know if it lasts any longer than a USB drive. PC Geek, grab the title bar. I think. Oh, sorry, I read that one. PC Geek. Oh, never mind. Sedated. I like it, but only room for 1 drive and an M.2 drive. Okay. Gimli Theon. Tim, why not 2 RU? 99. Hey, Jaden, thanks for the host. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Welcome to people from Jaden's stream. Thank you. How's it going? Welcome to the stream. Sedated, I like it, but only room for one drive, plus an M.2 drive. Oh, sorry, I just read that. Jaden, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Jaden, blowing me up. Thank you. Welcome. Welcome to the stream. Welcome, folks who are just watching Jaden. Hope you guys are having a good time. Hey, there's another one. Hey, I eat babies. That's not good. Unless they're like baby vegetables or something like that. How's it going? Let's see here. So, Gimli Theon, Tim, why not 2 are you? Yeah, enough room in rack. Kinda, sorta. So, so I'm building 2 of these guys, 2 of these servers, and I want to get down to 1U, because if I was gonna go 2U, I'd have a lot more room. I'd probably, some things would be cheaper, I'll just put it that way. But I'm trying to consolidate space, and so I don't want a rack that goes to the ceiling. And it's not because like my wife would care or it's all me. It's 100% me. Like I want to, like future, you know, I always want to kind of like, I scaled up and I'm going to scale up a little bit more. This is actually, it's a big leap in power, but a small leap in rack space. But eventually, I mean, I think eventually we all want to scale down a little bit, right? Or things get more efficient, get better. Or more powerful with a smaller footprint, and so I don't want to outgrow my 18U rack. And I just spent 3U. I'll put it that way. So I have 18U. I think I had a total of, can't remember how many I've left. Six or 7. I spent 3 that you'll find out about soon, which would mean I'd have 3 left. And so I'm going to build 2 1U servers. I want to. And another reason why I want to go 1U, because I don't have an even amount left, which would mean that I have 1U left in my rack, which I'm going to shuffle some stuff around at some point. But yeah. And also I'm just trying to figure out, is this going to work? You know, I think it might, but we'll see. And then on top of that, why 1U? Also, I'm going to build 2. I'm going to build 2 of the same exact servers for a little bit of load balancing, as well as some redundancy. So yeah, so that's kind of why. I'm Lymanson. You should open up Google Doc outlining your plans for a server to keep track of notes and open it up for comments. Hey, that's definitely a good idea too. I should do that at some point. Yeah, because right now I'm like kind of in the design phase and ideating phase, more spitballing. But yeah, for sure. And yeah, I like that. I'm Lymanson, thank you. Penguin Airlines, how's it going, man? Yeah, that's what he mentioned. He wants to buy multiple at the start compute cluster, so he doesn't want to take up 2U for every node. Yeah, thank you. PC Geek, even 2U needs a riser unless you have low profile cards. Thank you, that is exactly right. And on those risers, I think you get 2 PCI Express slots. So I can't see, I mean, maybe it's possible, but I don't know how 2 PCIe, unless it's like, I don't know how you get 2 PCI Express on a riser on a 1U server. Because my R710, you can only fit 2 devices on there. So yeah, maybe. John, I gotta run, catch you later. Yeah, and thanks, man. Thanks for being in here and throwing out some ideas, man. Yeah, I just joined, so I wasn't aware. No worries. Penguin Airlines, screw it. Go super long-term scalability and get a blade chassis. Yeah, those sound interesting to me. Sound awesome to me, but I don't know how I'd use it. It seems like it might use a lot of power. Pinot Noir Superstar, 2 VDES mirrored for better performance. Thank you. Thank you. So we're going back to my storage. Yeah, and that was one of the questions I was going to open up for people too, because I mean, you guys are. Penguin Airlines said he's a storage guy. Yeah, if I have 4 SSDs, what's the best layout for them for redundancy as well as performance? Let's say I have 4 1 terabyte SSDs. Yeah, what? Yeah, throw it at me. Let's see here. Sedated, so one uncommon route is a custom designed chassis. I found 2 sites that will fabricate it from scratch if you give the CADs. Oh man, that's a lot. They'll cut and drill metal holes, etc. I like that. That sounds awesome. That's super custom. I would just worry, like, would I pick out the right parts? Do I have the right design? That sounds awesome though. Maybe someday when I need to, like, you know, rent or fit a server in an exact spot right now. Right now it just needs to fit my server rack, but that's good to know that people do that. PC Part Picker does not have compatibility in rack service. Thank you. PC Geek, 1U server is so small it's like 2.5 inches thick or something like that. Proxmox can be clustered with just 2 nodes. How does it figure out quorum? Yeah, it's another great question. I'm Lymanson. I feel like the best bang for your buck is going to be a 1U server off eBay instead of picking parts yourself. That's definitely a possibility. Yeah, it's fair. Looks like 1.5U. Penguin Airlines, you could technically use an extension instead of a riser. Yeah, good call. They'll like cable. But the riser will afford multiple cards where the extension will only do one at a time and potential layout conflicts. Yeah, good call. But it looks like 1.5U. I'm not sure what you're referring to. Maybe something I was drawing. iLude, you need to have the var partition somewhere else. That's where it writes and kills the flash come from. Thank you. Yeah, I need to think that through some more, where it's going to live. Penguin Airline, also think you missed a message earlier, but the R630 in your price range has 3 PCI Express, iDRAC, multiple NICs, etc. R630, I did look at them. The only reason why I don't want to go back on like a full enterprise server is because like I don't need dual power supplies. I know I can take one out. You know, I don't necessarily need all of the fans that's going to come with it. Most of those are super long. I mean, and I have the space for it, right? But the R710 is, I think, 3 times longer than any of my other servers. And while it's not a, you know, like physical space really isn't a big deal in my basement, like if at some point, like I could get rid of that one, not get rid of it, but do something else with it, I could reduce the footprint of my entire rack by, you know, probably, you know, 60% because it's so long. But anyways, yeah, it's good. I wrote it down, so I will definitely look into it. And I did look at some of those at first because when I was first thinking like, you know, hey, I want to go 1U, Dell, HP, Supermicro is where I went to first. Then I thought, can I custom build this thing? And that was a rabbit hole for like 2 days of like creating all these different lists on Amazon. Now I'm kind of back in like, hey, maybe, you know, some used enterprise, but not super old used enterprise. And I do want to be on a newer platform too. Just because they're a little bit more efficient. Gimli Theon, there is enough room. All professionals are doing it. I saw riser cards in the 1 gigabit 1U server build from Level and text from Wendell. Professional brands. I think are you talking about 2 PCI cards in a 1U? Yeah, curious. Checked eBay right now, the Dell R630, plenty of them. 1,000. Yeah. So $1,000, I mean, not out of my price range, right? If I'm going to build a Supermicro, that's right where I'm sitting at. 128 gigs of DDR4, which, you know, kind of close. But yeah, I just don't, the size too. I want to kind of reduce the physical size too. Jader, hello. Hi, babies. Hello. Hi, baby. I'm going to see baby broccoli. Penguin, yeah, I linked them. But he won't check until after stream. Yeah. UDM. Graven. Yeah, man. Maybe. How do you like yours? On Lymanson, you need 2 rack servers. 1 server rack for production and your second is for testing. Yeah, that's true. I think a lot of my R710 stuff will end up being testing. So I'm going to flip this around where my R710 is kind of everything. But that's easy to do with virtual machines. But I want to flip it around to where these two 1U servers are my, you know, production. And then my testing is 1, if I want to spin it up within production within a virtual machine, I absolutely could. If I need some more horsepower than that, then, you know, I'll just end up going with firing up the R710. PC Geek, my R710 has 2 risers in it, 4 slots. Interesting. 4 slots. I thought mine had 2 risers with 2 slots. I could be wrong. And I had to hack one off so I can get a video card in there. Gimli Theon, yeah, I understand, but I look at it from the other side. Reusability, the 1U is less than a 2U unit. It's limited to what it fits into, while 2U may be more focused on bigger boards, so you can fit more power and space, more footprint. Yeah, I totally understand too, but at the end of the day, I want 2 physical machines so I can pull the plug on one and everything will just keep working. You know, where I have in the past been stacking my redundancy and everything into one physical server. I think I want to go two physical servers, 2 1Us. We'll see. I don't know. Built to fire, PCI bifurcation. Penguin Airlines, you have some lessons learned. You have some lessons to learn on power. 2v1 CPU doesn't necessarily make a big difference at idle. Sure. Also, blade servers are quite power efficient as they only have compute capabilities and not all the extra board. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I mean, I'm not saying outright. So, I mean, we all have lessons to learn, right? But I'm not saying outright like 2 versus 1 doesn't necessarily make a big difference. But I do think that the, R710 versus another server that didn't have all of the features that the R710 had in there with 2 processors would probably draw less power. I just feel like they're obviously built like a tank for a reason. They have tons of fans. There's a lot going on in there. But I kind of want to divide them up. And it's not even just for power. I honestly think the thing I can build after this, even on a newer platform and 2 physical servers, would draw less than the R710. Because the R710 does draw a lot of power. And I mean, it is what it is. And I mean, I run it 24/7. But I have a feeling, and plus it's such an older chip too, right? And so what I was saying earlier, even like newer chips with higher TDPs can draw less power than older chips with lower TDPs, just because the improvements in efficiency, and they can clock down. So yeah. Gimli Theon, I looked at the blades too. To be honest, they don't seem to be that expensive. Yeah, how tall are the blades though? I don't know. I'm thinking of blades back when I had to do server stuff, and I was like, I don't want that huge thing. Yeah, I don't know. And I feel like, I don't know. I could be wrong, but I feel like there's a lot of, I don't know. There's a lot of components in that blade, and maybe there's not. Maybe because it's all shared power and network, I guess, that you plug the blades into. That maybe there's efficiencies. I don't know. My idea, maybe it's wrong. I feel like it's a little less efficient. Could be wrong. And that's just me from the outside looking in. Don't work with them. Gimli Theon, I looked at the blades too. To be honest, they don't seem to be that expensive. Yeah. They aren't, but they have to afford 8U. Interesting. Blades can be loud though. I don't think it's rack basement or anything. The entire blade chassis seems way overkill for home. Yeah, I'm kind of going there too. And I don't know. Maybe I'm referring to blades that I used to look at in the hospital. They just seem like way overkill. Because at the end of the day, like if I got a blade and I only put 2 blades in it, I don't know. Maybe that's okay. I don't plan on going over to virtualization servers. Maybe I will. I don't know. But for now, I have no plans to. Skull, how's it going? Sedated. LOL, yeah, quickly to scale out for control for homelands. Yeah, I'm trying to downscale. Penguin Airlines, but at the same time, I know a couple guys in Homeland blade chassis for 2 or 3 nodes for redundancy on power of the exact nodes when labbing. They say it's very efficient. Yeah, that's good to know. Whenever I see like, and maybe this is just me, but whenever I see something that's shared infrastructure, I always think to myself like, there's got to be some efficiency loss on shared stuff. And that sounds pretty counterintuitive, doesn't it? On shared stuff. I mean, maybe there's a threshold at which it starts to make sense, but I feel like if you're underutilizing it, are you wasting any kind of power? I don't know. PC Geek 4 total. Stefan 69er. Hey Tim, started watching your Twitch finally. Thank you. You helped me set up my Proxmox cluster and I appreciate your helpful videos. Hey, thanks. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I'm glad you like them. Have some more coming. Sedated. One of my servers is an old E5 1620 V2, idles around 65 watts at the wall. So even old hardware isn't terribly power hungry. I agree. And those are two of the CPUs I was talking about earlier. Was what I was thinking was something in like the E. What is going on? Oh, that's Eraser? Are you kidding me? Oh, it doesn't work though. Look at that. But those are two of the CPUs I was thinking about. I don't even know where I can write anymore. I should clear this out. But I need to keep some notes on here. Was E5 1600 or E5 26? I think. But yeah. I totally agree. I hear that those, at least what I was reading, are pretty decent. I think those are max 8 core. I could be wrong. It's either 4 or 8 core. So I'm not sure. And I didn't talk about that either. I was thinking about 10 or 12 on one CPU. Penguin Airlines. Oh wait, here we go. VTC. I hate the idea of putting everything on one massive server. I hate downtime. Yeah, I'm kind of there too. Yeah, I'm kind of there too, for sure. Penguin Airlines, you can get an R710 down to 35 watts. That's awesome. I would love to. I've replaced all the drives with SSDs, and I've done a few other things, but I would love to know. I heard you can clock down the fans too using a script that the PC guy posted earlier in Discord. Craven, I don't have UDM. I'm just using pfSense. I'm tempted to get one. But I use pfSense plugins to enable casting and stuff to my IoT VLANs. I go back and forth. Maybe you will convince me. Do you have a Unify switch though, don't you? I thought I saw it in pictures. Penguin Airlines, new systems are definitely more efficient when ramped up. Don't fool yourself to think that newer is drastically more efficient. They definitely are more efficient, but configuration is worth consideration, considering as what you're spending on it. Yeah, that's absolutely a great point. That's a great point. And that's going to be another, I think another thing I'll have to think through and get your guys' idea on, how to run, a server as efficient as possible. Because right now it's just kind of full tilt. and I think on the newer processors too, because they can, or at least the ones I were looking at, because they can, they have turbo or can clock up. Maybe you can just lock them at a lower clock speed, and it's like, well, why spend the money on them? Well, the ones I was looking at were used, but possibly I might do something like that too. Because I mean, the tasks that I need to run, it's okay if they take an extra half a second to run instead of turboing up and using more power. Because a lot of the things, at least in, it's tough to explain. I have some workloads where they are sensitive, some where they're not. But yeah, I'd love to get your opinion on that too. My secure gift. Good evening, bro. Good evening. Penguin Airlines. Whoa. Tim, that went through me like a blade chassis. I have 2 PSU, 2 IPMI, etc., but they share that with 8 blades, for example. Why would sharing 2 PSU with 8 blades be less efficient than 2 PSUs with 1 server? I don't think I'm tracking. Why would 2 PSUs with 8 blades be less efficient than 2? Well, I'm not tracking that. I'm not comparing them to like server to server. I'm just saying when I see big shared stuff like that, I might be wrong, but I feel like there's a point at which, what am I trying to say? I feel like there's some kind of threshold where for shared infrastructure, it doesn't pay off until you meet that threshold as far as power. I don't know. Because even on one server with 2 PSUs, I know it's splitting it up, or is it splitting it up? And I feel like I don't feel like that's as efficient as running it on, say, 1. So I'm not comparing like blades to servers, and correct me if I'm wrong. I'm comparing just the 2 PSUs in a big blade to run 1 blade. Doesn't sound as efficient as if I were to just, I know you can't run a blade on its own, but run a blade on its own, because I feel like there has to be some kind of efficiency loss, just because all the shared stuff. that isn't being used. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Long to be. Hi, everyone. I just checked and bought my first real rack server. Nice. And puke green at the servers. I'm looking to learn as much as possible and have questions from others who are more experienced. Yeah, tons of people experienced in here. How's it going, Long to be? Gimli Theon. Craven, check the tutorials for It's My Natural Color on YouTube. He does. Absolutely, he does. He has some great stuff. Has 3 vids on configuring network and UDM with VLANs. Yeah, for sure. PC Geek. If you want to make a new whiteboard, click the back arrow on the top left. It auto saves everything. Oh, you know this stuff. Oh, you know this stuff. I've been clearing it out every time. Look at that. Hot dang. Yeah, here's the one where I was testing. Thank you. Yeah, so this isn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, this tool. It was okay. I was just like, installed the Wacom drivers, and I was like, I saw the little little pen tool, and I clicked it, and it launched this. I was like, hey, that's all right with me. Thank you, PC Geek. Ghibli Theon, that isn't a problem. Sedated E5 1600s range from 4 core 8 thread to 816. Yeah. And 26. Yeah. I think on the do the 26s even go up to 14, or am I crazy? Because those are the 2 I was looking at. I'm not going to go to 14. I was just wondering if it is possible. But yeah, and so that's where I was kind of like, yeah, the 16s, I don't know, 4 cores. I don't know. The more I think about it, I'm just like, oh, I don't even know what to do anymore. Eva 3311, hey, what kind of server? Oh yeah, we're trying to figure it out. I'm not sure yet. Maybe I think you guys are starting to convince me too about going back to maybe used enterprise. But I just feel like I want a little something newer. But we'll see. Man, that jumped up. Craven, and yes I do. I have all the Unify network gear and I'm running Protect. Nice, yeah. Yeah, because you didn't they accidentally send you an extra one? Gimli Theon, I know, but maybe you're just interested. Just saying. PC Geek, welcome. Penguin Airlines. I see what you're saying, but in this case, you're not correct. Okay. I'm trying to think of how to say it in the right short message on Twitch, but I guess it's pointless to argue because I wouldn't recommend a blade chassis for your situation anyways if you're not going to scale past 3 nodes. The 1U boxes, like the R630, would be a better solution. Yeah, I have this written down, and I'm going to scribble it down again. R630, or the R430. And I haven't looked at those, but I'll give them a second look. But if you really need it to be shorter, you'll sacrifice a lot to get that size. Yeah, I'm not saying I want to, but when it's the longest thing in my rack right now, and I'm like, if that wasn't there, I could gain, 60% of this rack space back. It would be nice, but definitely not out of the question. And yeah, Penguin Airlines. No, I absolutely, yeah, I welcome you correcting and challenging everything I say, because absolutely, like I don't know, I'm not an expert at a lot of this stuff, so I definitely value like your opinion and challenging stuff and clarifying what I say. So absolutely, I do appreciate it, and I don't think it's arguing. I think it's I think it's debate, and you basically setting me straight, and I'm absolutely all for that because I want to say the right thing. So I absolutely appreciate it, and I want you to know that. I'm Lymanson. I can't believe so many people like to research the phase of buying equipment. I always spend too much time trying to optimize. It's silly to spend 2 hours to save $10 on these builds. I can agree, but I'm at the phase where I could spend 2 hours to save $500, and it's not only that, I'm not trying to split hairs. I'm really just trying to plan or plan out, I guess, my 2 workhorses for the next 3-4 years. And so, definitely not trying to split hairs and optimize yet. I'm just thinking about the platform that I'm going to run all of my services and all of my home stuff over the next couple of years. And you know, with something like this, I want to make a good choice. And you know, I figured, you know, it might be good to include you guys, because you guys have a ton of experience and knowledge on this, and I thought might be a good exercise, at least for me, if not for you. Long to be Dell PowerEdge R820 4 Xeons 4627 V2 at 3.3, 8 core, 384 gigs of RAM. Nice. Penguin Airlines, the one CPU boxes lose a lot of memory channels, so you either sacrifice speed or capacity. Interesting. Yeah, I'll have to look at that too. Because the super micros I didn't look at all of them, but the super micros I saw were like they could take up to 512 gigs of RAM and they were one CPU, but I don't know, like you said, that lose a lot of memory channels. So we'll see. I hope that's not the case. VTC, same. Pricing it out on multiple sites, figuring out credit card rebates and everything. LOL, it's so annoying. Yeah, it is. It is. And at the end of the day, when you go to purchase, you're like, maybe it's on retail, maybe not. And you'll get some coupon codes. None of those ever work, depending on what site you're buying from. Penguin Airlines, and if you can just remove a CPU if you want to. Yeah, that's an excellent point. That's an excellent point. So they are more power and space efficient. They often sell for much cheaper, and they have flooded market where Amazon and Google are selling them by the thousands. Yeah, they're clearing out their data centers. Sedated, it sounds like he doesn't really need more than single proc servers. The dual and quad proc servers are really difficult to cool and super loud. I mean, that's my idea at first. Is just one. We'll see. Gimli Theon, sorry, the thing's in the way. This is also a lot of info about fan control and power optimization of Dell and probably other brands too, servers and home lab. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. I think once I pick my platform, that'll be my next steps, and I would love to hear from you guys. Craven, have a good night. Yeah, thank you. And which is a good segue into everyone else having a good night. So I do need to call it quits. Man, time really flew by tonight. Like, time flew by. One, I appreciate everyone that was here, that helped me out, that gave your opinion. I think I don't know if I'm closer, but I did rule some stuff out. I did learn a lot about servers I can also check out. But like I said, I definitely value your opinion. And I'm so thankful that you guys were here to kind of help me think through this. I'm sorry this was probably just a jumbled mess of, of my thoughts, but I don't know how else to get it out of my head. So I definitely appreciate it. I will be back on Saturday. So Saturday, I will be back on stream 3 Central. And I'll have something in the morning for you guys, hopefully, if I get it done tonight, tomorrow. Thank you so much. There were follows in there. There were subs. There were gifted subs. Man, thank you guys so much. But most of all, thank you for being here. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for challenging some of my ideas. Thank you for giving me a new perspective on things. It's super helpful. And it really means a lot. And I always, Penguin Airlines, absolutely. I value your opinion a ton. So thank you. And thank you for challenging me on stuff too, right? Because if everyone thought the same way I did, we'd be in some trouble. So anyways, thank you so much. I will see you guys, Saturday morning? And other than that, man, have a good night, and have a great weekend. Be safe tomorrow night. And as always, be good to each other. Have a good night.